students, welcome you all to this session. So in the previous session we had discussed about chapter called as natural resources. Under natural resources we had seen the meaning of natural resources, types of resources like renewable and non-renewable resources. We had also seen the meaning of soil erosion, what are the causes of soil erosion. We had seen about dams, benefits of dam as well as the disadvantages of construction of dams, and also seen about the different organisms, etc. Okay, now we are going to continue with this chapter. We will start with a topic called as water, use and over exploitation of surface and groundwater. So today we are going to discuss about a topic called as water. Overuse, or can say exploitation of over exploitation of groundwater and surface water. So this is the topic of today. Use and over exploitation of surface and groundwater. As you know students, water is one of the most important liquid, or you can say it is called as the liquid of life. Water is very essential for the organisms to survive, because we are all dependent on water for performing our activities, even drinking. So many physiological functions takes place with the help of water. So every organisms require water to perform their metabolic activities. Without water we cannot imagine our life. And 97% of earth is covered with water. 97% of earth is covered with water. And in previous chapter we had seen about aquatic ecosystem, where we had classified the aquatic into fresh water and marine water. And 3% of our earth is covered by fresh water. Only 3% covered with fresh water. These are just some of the approximate values you can say, but by studying these approximate values we can just estimate that how much of water is present on the earth, how much we are utilizing it, how much the water is being wasted, and so much of water is being utilized by organisms, etc. 2% is glaciers and ice caps. 2% is utilized, that is by glaciers and ice caps. Glaciers, you can see the freezed water is being freezed there. 70.8% is seas and oceans. Sea and oceans. Means this is just an estimate, approximate values of how the water is being distributed in different parts of the globe, you can say, or the surface of the earth. But the water which is covering oceans and sea is not suitable for drinking, because it is having high salt content. It is not consumable due to high salt content. It is not consumable. You cannot consume such salty water due to salinity, you can say, high salt content. So 70% of water is there in seas and oceans, but it's of what use? It's of no use, because it is saline water or having high salt content. Now we see the distribution of water, world water. Distribution of world water. How much of percentage is there in different parts of the world? We'll see now, because water is very essential for. So we are seeing the distribution of water throughout the world. So freshwater lakes 0.009%. Freshwater lakes 0.009 in terms of percentage. Then comes saline lakes, that is 0.008. Saline lakes 0.008%. Then comes some amount of rivers, 0.0001 river waters. Rivers 0.0001% is covered by rivers. Then comes soil moisture 0.005. Soil moisture 0.005%. This is an approximate value, you can say, where the water is distributed in different parts of the world. Groundwater 0.6%. Groundwater 0.6%. Next comes glaciers and ice caps. You have seen here glaciers and ice caps. 2.14% of water is in glaciers and ice caps. Total land area 2.8. Total land area, that is 2.8%. Already we had discussed in previous sessions about land resources. You know, land is one of the most important and valuable resource on the earth. Okay, next coming to oceans, 97.3%. 97.3%. So what is the total water now? Total water is 100% and atmospheric water vapor. So water is evaporated. So atmospheric pressure, that is 0.01%. And what is the total amount? Total percentage is 100. So this is the distribution of world water, you can say. So how much of water is present and wherever it is distributed. Freshwater lakes, saline lakes, rivers, oceans, soil moisture, groundwater, glaciers and ice caps, total land area, oceans, atmospheric pressure or water vapor. That is how the water is being distributed in different parts of the world. Next we will see surface and groundwater utilization and exploitation. So how much of water we are using and how much being over exploited. So we have seen the distribution of world water, right? Now we will go to surface and groundwater utilization and exploitation. Surface and groundwater, under that we will see now utilization, how much of water is being utilized, that is utilization and exploitation, or you can say over exploitation. Surface and groundwater utilization and exploitation. Now, what do you mean by surface water? The water which is coming through rainfall, snows, ice caps, it does not percolate in the groundwater. Now, if there is heavy rainfall, where does the water go? It does not percolate in the groundwater. It remains on the surface of the river, you can see. It remains in the surface, does not percolate into the ground, is called as surface water. So, rainfall, the water coming from rainfall, ice caps, or there is melting of ice caps, the water does not percolate groundwater. Does not percolate groundwater or the ground. It remains on the surface. That is called as surface water. Example, rivers, streams, natural lakes, etc. Example, rivers, streams, natural lakes, etc. Natural lakes, where the water does not percolate the ground, it remains on the surface. That is called as surface water. And that surface water is used for agriculture, navigation, domestic and industrial purposes. That water is used for agriculture, navigation, industries and domestic purposes, household, you can say, domestic purposes. This water is used. Which water is used? Surface water. Once again, surface water is the one where we receive the rainfall that is not percolating into the ground, and that water is called as surface water. It is utilized for agriculture, navigation, domestic purpose, industries, etc. Next, coming to groundwater. The fresh water located underneath the earth is called as groundwater. What is groundwater? The water which is present underneath the earth is called as groundwater. It's present in the soil, rocks, etc. Borewells is the example of groundwater. If you want, the best example of groundwater is the borewells. You know, in your homes you are having borewells, you are digging the borewell. That is called as the groundwater. Borewell is example for groundwater. It's the best or well-known example of groundwater. Now, this groundwater is also used for agriculture and domestic use. So, we are digging borewells in our houses, industries, various purposes we are using borewells or groundwater. That is also used for agriculture, household purposes or domestic purpose, etc. Now, if there is excessive drilling, so everybody goes on drilling the borewells, what happens with the groundwater? The groundwater quality, that is, it becomes contaminated or it becomes less, also sometimes decreases, water loss, contamination of water bodies. So, everywhere if there are digging of borewells, then the water will not be available in the future generation. So, digging of borewells, or you can say using of more and more groundwater leads to loss of water on the earth's surface. Okay. Now, we will see the utilization of two varies from nation to nation. Now, if you see these two waters where they are used, distribution of water or usage of water, it varies from nation to nation. Nation to nation means in some country how there is utilization of water, and how is the utilization of water in our country. We can see now in both the countries how is the utilization of water in different countries. At global level, first one, at global level, 70% of water is used in agriculture. How much percent? 70%. At global level, 70% of water is being used in agriculture, 25% in industry, and 5% is used for domestic purpose or domestic use. This is the percentage of water at global level. So, it varies from nation to nation. Globally, 70% of water is used in agriculture, 25% in industries, and 5% in domestic use. Now, if we come to India, to our country, what is the usage of water in India? In India, 90% of water is used in agriculture. So, dear students, as you already know, our country is agriculture based country. Most of our people are depending on agriculture for their livelihood. 70% is purely industry. 7% purely industry, and 3% is only used for domestic use. This is how you can compare the distribution of water in different fields. Like in global level, 70% used in agriculture, 25% in industry, and 5% in domestic use. But if you see to compare with India, 90% is used in agriculture, 7% purely industry, and 3% is used for domestic purpose. Now, as you can see, 90% of our water resource is used in agriculture. Why? As you know, the population of our country is increasing day by day. Because of the increase in the population. So, as there is increase in the population, there is utilization also increases in the water rapidly. There is rapid increase in water utility also. So, one most important reason is population. As population increases, there is demand for everything, food, not only water, food, agriculture, water, other resources, shelter, accommodation, everything increases. So, the usage of water also increases. Water, utility of water also increases because of the increasing population. So, increasing water utility is also at faster rate or higher rate, you can see. If you see the history, 50 years ago, 1500 cubic kilometer was underwater, 50 years ago. How much? 1500 cubic kilometer. 1500 cubic kilometer. How many years ago? 50 years ago. But now if you see 3900 cubic 3900 cubic kilometer water per year. So see, there is a lot of increase there, more than double it is, right? So double the water has been, usage has been increased every year. So this is all about the water, usage of water. Then coming to, we have seen the meaning of surface water, groundwater, its utilization, distribution of this water throughout the world at global level as well as in India, the usage of water. Next coming to, what is the main reason for so much of water being utilized at faster rate or rapidly? That is mainly the population. Everything, as I told you, it's all based on a population only. Whether it may be any effect or harm also, that is the meaning, mainly based on population increases. So that is increase in population. So population increases, usage of water also rapidly increases. Then we have seen some past history about the usage of water. Next we will go to floods. So till now we have discussed about water, its uses and surface water and groundwater. Now we will see about floods. Okay, till now we have discussed about water, surface water, groundwater. Now we are going to discuss about the topic called as floods. Pravaha anta kartare kannadalli, it is called as Pravaha, flood. What are the causes of flood? Heavy rainfall, you can say. Causes due to heavy rainfall, damaging life and property at short time, or in short time our environment, our property, and it's all being destroyed. So caused due to heavy rainfall, caused due to heavy rain or rainfall, causing damage to property, as well as our environment. Environment includes all plants, animals, etc., even human beings, and leading to sort of losses at short period of time. If there is continuous heavy rainfall, flood, what happens? Then within a short period of time, our property or environment, everything destroys. And it is also called as cyclones and typhoons. It may include cyclones and typhoons, you can say. So you have heard the word cyclones. Cyclones means they are abnormal weather conditions, you can say. Now see, here also in some few days ago there was rainfall, continuous rainfall. So you may be imagining, is it rainy season? No. So at unusual time we feel like rainfall or too cold or heavy rainfall, not in a particular season, apart from a particular season, then different seasons also adverse effect it is playing on. So the adverse effect on human population as well as plants and animals, that is called as cyclones and typhoons. So impact is worst in Bangladesh. In 2004, an example, worst example, you can see a worst example of these floods in Bangladesh in the year 2004. Tsunami was caused. You all have heard this word. T is silent. Tsunami, nothing but earthquake only, but it's occurring in the water bodies, the depths of the ocean and seas. There is an earthquake leading to flow of water, overflow of water into the areas, cities and towns, leading to, that is called as tsunami. So impact is worst in Bangladesh 2004 tsunami. That is the worst example people still remember because of these floods. Floods of Ganga, Brahmaputra and are the best examples. Krishna, tributaries of Krishna, Maharashtra, UP, so many cities, so many states are affected due to this flood or tsunami, you can say. Then there is a report that 40 million hectare land, there is a report that 40 million hectare land is being affected by floods. How much land? 40 million hectares of land is affected due to floods in India. This is a report, according to an estimation or report, you can say 40 million hectares of land is affected in India by flood or due to flood, and 7.7 million hectare is affected, that is shelter. So many people have lost shelter, animals, thousands of people also have died, thousands of people have died every year due to floods. So they have lost their houses, their property, people itself have died, so many thousands of people have died due to floods every year. So flood is a very natural calamity it is, but it's very dangerous, due to which there is loss of property, environment, as well as playing an adverse effect on the life of people. There is flood, then there is loss of water, loss of property or animals, plants, human beings. So many animals, plants, animals, human beings have died because of these floods every year. Okay, so this is about the flood. So mainly flood is caused due to heavy rainfall causing damage to property, environment, etc. Environment includes biotic components and abiotic components. They are in terms of cyclones and typhoons. The one example, worst example was seen in Bangladesh in the year 2004, that is called tsunami. And every year 40 million hectare of land is being affected through floods. So this is about the floods. Next we will go to drought. That is one more condition, you can say, another condition affecting our environment, that is drought. Flood is heavy rainfall. Now drought is exactly or opposite of this flood. It adversely impacted natural disaster. It is also adversely affecting natural disaster. Adversely affecting natural disaster. Natural disaster. Due to hydrologist and meteorologist, if there is average rainfall below 25 centimeter, that is called as drought. So as per hydrologist and meteorologist, if there is rainfall, average rainfall below 25%, then that leads to a condition called as drought. I mean, there is complete scarcity of water. It is exactly opposite of flood. The flood is heavy rainfall. That's also lead to destruction of life and other abiotic components also. But drought is a condition, a natural disaster where there is very less rainfall, or there is average rainfall is below 25%, affecting the plants, animals and human beings. In India, 19% territory is drought prone. How much percent? 19% territory. Drought prone means drought affected, you can say. Drought affected. In our 19% of territory is drought affected. 12% of population in Rajasthan, Bihar, 12% of states like Rajasthan, Bihar, UP, they are all affected by drought. Karnataka also, Bihar, Orissa, drought, Bargala anta karitivi. There is very less rainfall. Rainfall below 25%, that leads to drought conditions. The impact of drought was seriously felt in 1965. Now take an example of this. In the year 1965, the drought condition, the impact of drought, the impact, what kind of impact here? Bad impact of drought was adversely seen in the year 1965, that is 54% of territory. 54% of territory was affected and millions of people have suffered. And sowing area, 53% of sowing area and 57% or 41% of people have been affected. Sowing area. These numbers are just an approximate, you can say. So who are all affected here? People are affected, 41 million people affected, 53% of sowing area was affected and 54% of territories were affected in the year 1965. And what happened due to drought? There was loss in agricultural crops, and that year what happened, there was rise in the prices. Rate due to drought conditions. So there was steep rise in the prices. Since then, Indian government adopted certain programs. Indian government adopted drought prone area program. Which program? Drought prone area program. Means they are looking at the areas which is under drought, what are the measures to overcome those drought conditions, what are the people requiring in those areas for the development of the country, etc. So this is about the drought. So droughts are an adversely affecting natural disaster occurring in nature naturally due to less rainfall. How much? 25%. If the average rainfall goes below 25%, that leads to drought condition. And 19% of the droughts people are affected. Drought affected areas that there. 12% in state like Rajasthan, UP, Bihar, Odisha. Some part of our state called Karnataka also been affected. And a very good example or a drought was adversely affected in the year 1965. An example you can say. Since then, the Indian government adopted drought prone area program in our country, that is in after 1965. So till now we have discussed about the floods and droughts. Now we see the conflicts over water. Conflicts means the competition you can say, or the fight for the water resources you can say, that is called as conflicts between international level as well as the interstate level. As you can see in our state also, in our state and Tamil Nadu, there is a lot of conflicts for river Kaveri, for the water resource you can say. So conflicts over water sharing is a global phenomena. You see students, water resources is not available equally in all parts of the world. Some areas, some countries have more amount of water throughout the world you can say, or there are some places or some countries or some states which is requiring very less rainfall, then they face the problem called as drought. So there is sharing of water between states and even countries also, that is called as international and interstate water sharing is a global phenomena since ancient times. So we have to help each other, even interstate or inter countries or between countries of different places in the world, to provide the water, because water is very essential. Every organism requires water for their survival. But the obvious reason is due to availability, utilization, how we are utilizing it, how we are exploiting the water. It all depends upon that places. And the most important reason you can say the pollution factor, urbanization, industrialization, pollution. So, due to which the water resources of that particular place or country or state is being declined. So, due to that there are conflicts over water, both international as well as interstate conflicts. So, there are 215 multi-nations rivers flowing across more than 5 nations. So, we can see big rivers, you can say huge longest rivers which are flowing in different parts of the world. So, those nearby countries and states are receiving the water from those rivers. What about other country, other states, other districts or small villages you can say, how they can receive the water? Because as you know, people are destroying or drilling bore wells, and due to that what happens? The groundwater is being reduced. So first we'll see Middle East countries, the river, you can say countries like Jordan, Middle East countries. Middle East countries in the world, like the river basins of Jordan share the river waters of Tigris and Nile. You know the Nile is the longest river in the country called as Egypt. And the Middle East countries, namely Turkey, Saudi Arabia, UAE, Bahrain, Qatar, Oman, Syria and Iraq. These are countries where there is more scarcity of water. They receive water only during monsoon. When there is rainy season, they have water in their countries, and other time they face lot of shortage of water in their countries. So Turkey has abundant water resource, built dams. Turkey, one of the country, has more water resources for building dams, hydroelectric projects for electricity, etc. And there are the reasons, different reasons, like scarcity of water led to conflict with Turkey. So they have to have some conflict with Turkey to receive more amount of water, to supply water in their countries which are having scarcity of water. First we will see Nile River conflict. Nile, as you know, it is the longest river in the world, longest river in the country called as Egypt. Ethiopia, Sudan and Egypt share the river water. Which countries are sharing this water? Ethiopia, Sudan and Egypt. As Nile is the river flowing in Egypt only, but the countries like Ethiopia, Sudan also receiving the water from their country called Egypt. It is trying to divert more water which has affected Egypt. Now you see, if the country is having conflict with other countries, they are receiving the water from Nile river from Egypt, but more and water is being transported to the country. What about Egypt? Their own country, they are facing the country problems. So it has affected Egypt. So the vast of Egypt land is a desert. So what happens, due to more transportation of water being supplied to other countries, the own country called Egypt has been converted into desert now. So there is scarcity of water which has led to growth decline of plants, animals, other organisms. There is international crisis, you can say. Crisis means the problems or issues, you can say, which the country is facing in the present day situation. Next we will see Indo-Pak dispute. Indo-Pak dispute. This is the dispute we have heard many a times between India and Pakistan. Okay, so Indus is one of the biggest river having tributaries like Ravi, Satluj, Jhelum, Ravi, Chenab. The river originates from Himalaya belt. As you know, we are Indians, we have a lot of disputes in our country regarding Pakistan. As earlier, before independence, Pakistan was one of the state in our country, you can say, but after independence it has been divided or separated as a separate country, you can say. So, but some rivers, India is one of the biggest having river tributaries. Indus Valley civilization, if you study in geography, in social studies, you will come to know that. So Indus is one of the most or biggest river having tributaries like Ravi, Bees, Satluj, Jhelum, Chenab, etc., which are flowing through Pakistan and submerged in Arabian Sea. These rivers are starting from India, flowing through Pakistan. So there is dispute between India and Pakistan in the Himalayan ranges, or in that water is flowing into Arabian Sea. The dams constructed in the basin under British regime. So under the British rule, these dams were constructed. Due to Indo-Pak conflict arised during 1960s, the water treaty is according between India and Pakistan. So what you have to know here is conflict or disputes between the two countries, India and Pakistan, because of the rivers or the water resource, you can say, because it is starting from India, flowing through Pakistan and going into Arabian Sea. So people of Pakistan also require that large amount of water in their country. So India has an upper edge, being a riparian state, to construct barrages or river territories. So they have to construct their own dams, territories, so they can be used water consumption purpose in different parts of the country. Now, interstate disputes. Interstate disputes. This is about different countries, conflict, you can say. Nile is Egypt, Indo-Pak, that is India and Pakistan, and next coming to interstate. So in spite of in the same country, we have different states, 20 to 29 states are there till today's present condition. Satluj, Narmada, Madhya Pradesh, Maharashtra, Gujarat, Karnataka, Tamil Nadu, Kerala, Andhra Pradesh, Telangana. So many states are there. Our most conflict we have heard in recent days is between Karnataka and Tamil Nadu for the river, which that is called as Kaveri. Right, Tungabhadra, Karnataka and Andhra. Kaveri dispute that originated between 380 kilometers and Tamil Nadu 360 kilometers in Pondicherry, Kerala, finally submerged in Bay of Bengal. This river Kaveri flows to so many states and finally flows into Bay of Bengal. So earlier Karnataka was a state of Mysore, So nowadays still that conflict is being going on because of the flow of water into the states. Okay, that everybody that about the dispute. A separate body was set up by Union government regarding the release of water to Tamil Nadu. The people of Tamil Nadu wanted the Kaveri river water. Next came Krishna, Mahadayi. Mahadayi, it is the water disputes tribunal referred to Mahadayi water dispute, which was under Mahadayi water allocation. It is nothing but ಇದೆಲ್ಲ ಕೇಳಿರ್ಬೋದು ನೀವು ಮಹದಾಯಿ. ಏನಿದು ಮಹದಾಯಿ ಅಂದರೆ about rivers, you can say, disputes about rivers for the flow of water to different parts of the states, interstates. ಅಂದರೆ ನಮ್ಮ ಜನರಿಗೆ ನೀರು ಕೊಡಬೇಕು, ನೀರು ಸಪ್ಲೈ ಮಾಡಬೇಕು, ಅದು ನಮ್ಮ ರಾಜ್ಯದಲ್ಲಿದೆ, ಅದು ನಿಮ್ಮ ರಾಜ್ಯದಲ್ಲಿದೆ, ಬಟ್ ಅದು ಎಲ್ಲ ಕಡೆ ಹರಿತಾ ಇದೆ ನೀರು. ಎಸ್, ರಿವರ್ ವಾಟರ್, ನದಿಗಳು ಹರಿತಾ ಇದ್ದಾವೆ, ಬಟ್ ಎವ್ರಿಬಡಿ ವಾಂಟ್ಸ್ ವಾಟರ್. ಬಟ್ by sharing of water, what happens, everybody can survive as we are all Indians, we are from the same country. In spite other countries, see, people are from Egypt, they were giving us water different parts of the world, then why not interstate also people have to supply water to different parts of the state. That was called as a conflict or a mahadai. People are fighting for water resources. As you know, water is one of the most important resource on the earth. Apart from land, water is also very essential for survival of organisms, plants, animals, you can say. So this is all about the water resources. So what all we have discussed today? We have discussed about the water, that is surface water, groundwater, utilization, over exploitation, distribution of groundwater or surface water throughout the world. Then we have seen some conflicts between interstate or international levels, also conflicts for water, and some examples taking Nile River project conflict, Indo-Pak dispute, that is in Pakistan, and interstate disputes in different parts of our country. So this is all about the water resources. Thank you.